a roll call. Courtney, would you do a roll call, please?
Okay, so we have Brent Hill and Steve McLaughlin, John, don't make me say Lehman, Andy Caglione, and Mark Stevenala. Okay, still need to work on this.
Yeah. Okay. And public comment at this point? Now, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thomas Scott, you can call me Tom, running for the open seat right now, which is a special election District 5, which I served in 2007 and 2011. So right now there's 13 people in that race, but I'm looking forward. So yeah, it's good to be here. Just want to come down and introduce myself and let everybody know who I am. How much time do I have? A minute, 2 minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right.
You got a minute.
3 minutes, all right. I'm a pastor of a church, and so that 3 minutes be gone in a minute. But I was on Tampa's County Commission for 10 years, and then went over to City Council, District 5, served there, and all the CRAs that you hear about, I voted on every one of them except for West Tampa. It's the only one that I did not vote on. And East Tampa is the one that I drew. It was not included in the mix originally by Ron Rotel and Dick Greco. And so I was chairman of County Commission, as you very well know. I was chairman of the County Commission, and you cannot get a CRA approved without the Board of County Commission. And so I said, well, we got to put East Tampa in there, and we did. We got it in there, and I drew the boundary. It is the largest CRA in the state of Florida that would generate in the life of it over $200 million. So I've been very involved with CRAs and know a lot about them. Of course, there's been a lot of movement. Ed Johnson was over the East Tampa, and Vince Pardo was over, you all remember Vince, some of you might remember, was over the Igor area. And so now there's been a lot of movement and transition. So I'm looking forward to working with you all. I'd love to have your support as we move forward in the campaign. And of course, Andy know a lot about me and about my history and all the things that I have done on the City Council and County Commission. This what you need to know is that there are 13 candidates running, but there's only one that has any experience and who can hit the ground running. That's me. None of the other candidates that have ever been elected, none of the other candidates have the experience that I have, or even done a lot of the things that I have done to make our city a better place. And I understand that that's a challenge that you all have right now in terms of green space. And so I look forward to working with you so we can kind of make that happen as we move forward. And so thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight and share with you. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nick, you're part of the agenda, so Tyler, you're in the agenda, so you don't need to do public comment. Yeah. Do we have any other public comment? Okay, I see none. So let's go into action items. Has everybody reviewed the June 2025 meeting minutes? Any revisions? I see none. Can I get a motion?
Got a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Okay. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes are approved. June.
I think John.
Sorry, hey, I just, I don't know if we're informed everybody, I actually 6:35.
Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Oh, sure.
We were going to, I don't see Tony here yet, so let's skip around a little bit.
Where's
Akita.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about
No
that.
problem. Napoleon Rossi, Florida Aquarium, covering for Tony.
Yeah.
So just a little update from the Florida Aquarium on this past Friday. We opened up our Tight Touch exhibit. This is a brand new exhibit, 60 feet long, actually 4,000 gallons, stimulating Pacific Northwest. It's really a cool exhibit. So we put in about 200 invertebrates right now, from like sea stars to sea urchins, and it's just something nightscape really goes from like morning all the way to night. Audio visual is just really cutting edge. So we're super stoked to get this exhibit up and running. This is the first phase of our Sea Change exhibit capital campaign, which is a $45 million expansion. To come is going to be puffins, then sea lions outside, and then the black-footed African penguin. So a lot of cool stuff on that horizon coming up. We're very excited about. We're also renovating our cafe. So with it getting so hot outside, we're looking forward to getting people back indoors to a newly renovated cafe, which is going to be a great experience also. And then the big news is in September, we're actually hosting the Association of Zoos and Aquariums Conference. So we're hosting about 3,000 of our colleagues from all across the US, Canada, and all that into Tampa Bay for about a week in mid-September. So that is our big news. So we're having the icebreaker that Tuesday, I think the 16th or something like that. And then, or no, Monday the 15th. And then Busch Gardens and Zoo Tampa are actually hosting as well. So it's a good joint effort getting all these colleagues in town. So that is what I have done. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Tell Tony we said hello.
I definitely
And
will.
Roger.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's go into the affordable housing applicant, B Parks. Tyler?
So actually, you want to go ahead and do the presentation prior to, and then we will be here.
Yeah. Is he going to remark first or?
Yes, yeah, unless you want to start, but, yeah. But we'll just, I'll like, this one, this one. Yeah, another present. You're fine.
It was quick.
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon or evening, B Parks, CRA Community Development Coordinator. And I'm presenting today actually just introducing you to an affordable housing proposal for the Channel District. So I do have, of course, the developers here to go ahead and present to you all, just to give you some background. And I know that you guys are aware of this, but just in case you're not, we were tasked as staff from the CRA board to allocate 30% of our budgets across all of the CRAs for what we call attainable housing. So it's kind of just digging into, finding ways that we could, subsidize and convert or create some units in every one of the CRA areas. So this will be our first presentation to the Channel area. I wanted this to be more of a presentation, a dialogue. Let's talk this through, and then hopefully some recommendations to move forward and actually have some projects come across in Channel. This has been successful as it relates to the downtown CRA. We already have 2 projects approved on that side. And of course, the east side is booming with the development requests and west of as well. So there is an ever-growing of identifying where affordable housing can be built. So with no further ado, let's welcome the developers up to talk about a new project, which they're looking to set aside 74 units for affordable housing.
Good evening, everyone. Even worse than a developer, I'm a lawyer. My name is Tyler Hudson. I've had the privilege of working on a lot of the exciting projects in this area, like Gasworks, Seaboard Harbor, a lot of the multifamily development on Channelside Drive. My client is Nick Benjamin with Vila Development. So I'm going to walk through a little bit of what this project is. Nick's going to talk more about the details. First of all, about Vila and their partner Magellan. This project, 1242 Channelside Drive, so that's sort of the furthest north development parcel on the west side of Channelside Drive, north of Twigs. So Gila does multifamily and mixed-use development all around the country alongside Magellan. Magellan's based out of Chicago, and they do a lot of very cool-looking projects like what's on screen throughout the country, including Miami. This will be their first project in Tampa, but like a lot of folks, they're really excited about where Tampa's going. So back to that's the project, and let's kind of go back to 2022. So in November of 2022, Tampa City Council unanimously approved the rezoning for this project, which contemplates 26 stories, podium park, which is pretty standard for the Channel District, ground floor retail, pretty significant amount of indoor-outdoor amenity space. And what's really important is that the next month, in December of 2022, the CRA board voted to allocate 30% of the budgets for the CRAs to affordable housing. And so the CRAs have approached this in different ways. We'll talk more about the proposal in a second.
You mind if I take a picture of that?
What's that? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll email it to you. So the Central Park CRA recently approved, and the CRA board unanimously approved a really similar development that we are basing this proposal on, which is the money that the CRA has for affordable housing isn't really sufficient to go build affordable housing buildings. Y'all don't have that much money. But what you can do is buy down rent. What you can do is provide a subsidy that would allow for the developer to charge a rent equal to whether it's 80% AMI, 100, 120, 140. And so that's what we're proposing. So I'm going to briefly turn it over to Nick, who's going to walk through some really cool imagery about the project, and then I'll circle back to talk about the Channel District CRP and how this supports that.
Just a quick question on there. When your first comments was 74 units, and this is 3, so it's 374.
It's 399 total units. The proposal, and we'll get to that in a second, but the proposal is actually for 100 affordable units priced between 80 and 140% of AMI. That's been modified a little bit since the package. We're actually proposing more attainable housing than we had proposed in the initial submission. This is another exterior rendering to give you a sense of scale and quality of the building. I just say I'm really happy to be here and be talking about this project and be talking about the quantity of workforce attainable housing that we're talking about. It was one of our foundational principles when we started Real Development Partners. We see a huge opportunity across the country to deliver more workforce attainable housing in an envelope that is a best-in-class envelope at the highest quality level for rental apartment buildings that exists in really all growing tier 2 markets. And the way we do that is through a diverse unit mix and through scale and size and density. We can't do 10-story, 200-unit buildings and get to a place where the economics work. But generally, our buildings across the country will be somewhere between 5 and 10% of our units are at least at the 120% affordability threshold. Here, which we'll get to in a second, this is a view of the building on 12th Street. Another exterior view looking at the 12th Street side of the building and the connectivity. Really excited about what is potentially going on across the street from us with Ybor Harbor. These are some unit renderings, again, qualitatively, and we have this building designed to the point where it's GMP and shovel ready. We're targeting a first quarter of next year construction start. This is the living room of a one-bedroom apartment. One of the other sort of unique elements of our design model, in a high-rise envelope, we do somewhere between 20 and 25% of our units are actually duplexes, where you have kitchen and living space on the first floor and bedroom on the second floor. It adds efficiency to our buildings. We're able to eliminate corridors on every other floor on the floors where we have duplexes. So adds, a percentage point or two of efficiency to the building, but also produces an offering that's pretty unique in a high-rise envelope. You'll see a few penthouse units, across the country in buildings that are 2-story, very few typical units. And you get this kind of sense of townhouse living in a high-rise apartment envelope, which we are really excited about. This is an exterior view from a balcony of a large 2-bedroom unit. penthouse unit on the left, another duplex view on the right, and then a little bit darker in this medium. Then hopefully you guys can get a sense of the quality. But this is a view of one of our rooftop amenity spaces. We're using Parts and Labor Design as our interior designer, one of the best interior designers in the country, and have not done anything in the Tampa market yet. So really excited to bring their design sensibility to the market. And all these amenities, everything about this building, whether you're renting an entry-level studio at the 80% of AMI entry point, or whether you're renting a penthouse in the building, you get access to the same amenities, you have the same building experience. Another amenity interior view. Obviously these are things but we're really excited about the opportunity. There's obviously incredible development that's happened in Water Street. We see ourselves as kind of in the hole of the donut in the city, and there's a lot of great work. Ken's done a lot of it that's happened in the Channel District already, but we do see the potential to kind of raise the bar from a scale and programming and amenity and quality perspective, which we expect will catalyze more growth in the Channel District. And obviously a lot of exciting things happening around this as well. Did you, Tyler?
I could add that one. Yeah. So obviously legally, the CRA has got to follow its community redevelopment plan, which was fairly recently updated in the Channel District. So, that's an important thing to note. I mean, not only did the CRA board sort of impose this requirement that 30% of the funding go towards affordable housing, we'd also remind and reorient that the development itself, we think, promotes the goals of the community redevelopment plan. I mean, certainly on the connectivity point, right now the development really kind of peters out a little bit north of Twigs. It's kind of a stopping point, but that's still very much within the Channel District CRA, as is, of course, Ybor Harbor, which is approved for about 6 million square feet of mixed-use development. So I think that's really important on the infrastructure side. Right now, it's some grass and some rocks. An enormous amount of money is going to have to go into sidewalk enhancements, stormwater attenuation, things like that. Those are all things that are alluded to in the Channel District Community Redevelopment Plan. And affordability, that kind of hits on the nose. I don't think we need to talk about that anymore. I mean, the goal here is to expand housing opportunity for the folks who live, or folks who work near the Channel District, to make this an affordable place for more people, which keeps cars off the road, et cetera, second order effects. So I think that part's probably pretty self-explanatory. Then I'll let Nick kind of walk through the ask.
So that 74 is 100 now.
It's 100. Yes, that's right. Yeah, so what we are proposing is 100 units priced in a range between 80 and 140% of AMI. 84 of those units will be studios. 11 of those units are 1 bedrooms, and 5 of them are 2 bedrooms. Using the rubric that we've been provided with by B, and that has been generally approved for these types of projects citywide, that equates at the different affordability levels to a total of $13.5 million grant, $135,000 a unit. And all of these units we would be pledging to keep at in their respective 80 to 140% of AMI ranges for 50 years from opening of the building.
Question, what's current AMI right now?
It's $98,400. So would it help to give like an overview of how the AMI stuff works? I don't want to be presumptuous.
I have a chart to reference really quick.
Good.
It does make a difference. So look
Yeah.
at the area median income from this perspective. And I'm going to just fill in some remarks after
Perfect.
you're
No,
done, because I need to go over a couple.
I asked that question because
Sure.
a lot of people equate affordable workforce housing to affordable housing.
And I'm not really sure what those terms mean, to be honest. I've been in this space for some time. Attainable is popular also. So the good news is we could actually kind of reduce it down to numbers. So the idea is that housing is affordable if it is 30% or less of your income. And so the Department of Labor publishes area median income every year. It comes out in April. It's typically issued at the county level, but if It's also issued at the metropolitan statistical area level. So there's no Hillsborough County AMI, there's no Tampa AMI, there's no Channel District AMI, there's the Tampa CP Clearwater AMI, which again, as of this April is $98,400. And then so what you can do is knowing that, okay, we know it's $98,400, we know that the rent can't be more than 30% of their income, you're able to back into two numbers that matter. The rent limit, which is what most folks look at, but also the income limit, because this is an ongoing partnership with Gasworks. We're dealing with this right now, where there's some affordable housing units there, where for any tenant that takes a rent restricted unit, the city has to verify the income, W-2, pay stubs, things like that. So it is an ongoing process, and AMI can go up. So the presumption is that the rents of these restricted units would rise as AMI rises, would fall as AMI declines, which over a 50-year period is a pretty big bet because it's a long time. But hopefully that helps on the AMI nomenclature. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is just a breakdown. There are 40 of the units in the context of the rezoning that Tyler mentioned. We had already committed for 30 years to price those between 80 and 120% of AMI. So the specific incentive ask that we're making for those 40 units, we're only asking for 40% of what's available, which represents the increase in pledging those for 30 years to 50 years. And then there's 60 units that are totally new that were not involved in the rezone that we're pledging for 50 years. And for those, we're asking for 100% of the available grant.
I might have missed it, but you covered the 100 units, which basically, what size those are. But in the 299 that remain, what are they, 2-bedroom, are they 3-bedroom, are they the same relationship suites to what?
The building is, and I think we can here, I think there's a slide that had the first allocation of unit mix. The short answer is the remaining units will be studios, 1-bedrooms, 2-bedrooms, and just a few 3-bedrooms. And that's the percentage allocation.
Can you go forward 2 slides where you were before?
Yeah, sure.
Is that you looking over
This one?
before? No, right there.
Yeah, sure.
I'm with the port. That's why I
Yeah. We're excited about that view.
It is, the building is on the entire lot space. The other areas, other lots that would have another.
Yeah, so we own 1242 and 1236 Channelside. This building actually is only going to sit on essentially 80% of the 1242 lot, leaving the portion closest to Channelside Drive, which is contiguous with 1236 Channelside. So that site becomes an acre second development site, and our intention is to build a phase 2 of apartments once we get this one up and running.
That's the one that's on Channelside Drive.
That's right. That's right.
Is that
Yeah, this
sidewalk,
one, the
that
entrance will be on
rendering,
12.
something still in the plans? I saw a nice sidewalk that leads to Channelside Drive.
Yeah.
Is that still?
Yes, it is, very much so.
So Nick, can you put up the drawing again?
Yeah.
Is there actually frontage on, I mean, what's gonna, go back to your point. The site plan.
This
So
one?
what's gonna be in the front of Channelside Drive? The front-
So when we
What's
first
gonna be
built,
east of that building?
when we first built and opened 1242 Channelside, we're going to landscape that. It's 15,000 square feet that's left on the Channelside Drive.
I learned.
Yeah,
up this.
that's pretty. That's another level of sophistication.
So it's next.
See how my hand is.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, so when we open 1242, we're going to put, as part of our, and this is a $200 million project. As part of our $200 million project, probably $750,000, something like that, to enhance and landscape this portion of the site so that it becomes an amenity for the residents. And then when we build on 1236 and this portion of 1242, the second phase of apartments, you'll have, restaurant, retail activation all on Channelside Drive. But it'll be a phased approach.
But will it be restricted to green area, or can it be built in the future?
It can be built in the future. We will temporarily, in all likelihood, the time between the opening of 1242 and the start of construction of The second apartment building on 1236 will be somewhere between 2 and 3 years. During those 2 and 3 years, we'll operate it as an amenity for the residents, and it can be a community amenity too. It's going to be green space. And then once we start the next building, we will build on it and bring the podium up to the same level as 1242 and add retail on Channel Central.
Okay, but it's not a permanent green area.
Correct. It's not a permanent green area.
Okay. B, question to you. The properties you said in downtown, did the city own those properties or are
They
they're
were private
They're private.
developers that
Okay.
proposed
um,
projects.
and with this $13.5 million, would we be just writing a check from that at the beginning?
No, so it's a reimbursement. It is, all of our grants are reimbursable. So what I want him to finish his presentation, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're not through?
So.
Almost.
Just-
Almost.
Yeah, so then that
We're
way
getting
I can explain some
No.
current procedures and then what we're looking to.
That's my fault, because I was interjecting. I apologize.
Yeah, so this is just the math on essentially the cost to us over the 50 years of reducing the pricing for these units from market rent to fall within the 80 to 140% of AMI. Over 50 years, the net loss to us is a little bit over $9 million. But the benefit at the front end, and we will talk about the mechanics of that, but the benefit at the front end of getting reimbursement for the costs makes that benefit, it's not a financial windfall for us by any means. I think that's it. So we'll let you go. Let's go to questions first.
Okay, so just a couple of items. So when I previously mentioned the CRA board direction that they wanted us to head in, they did want us to look at these different CRA areas and just kind of say what is going to work in each area, okay? Because typically, and I did let them know when we did review it, typically the city just provides construction costs for the projects that CRA funds. But with this one, being that it's in channel, dynamics are a little different. What I wanted to propose is let's look at the gap analysis of the market versus the affordable rents. And let's look at how that could be created in the system. And then, of course, they approve this matrix that goes off of what the area median income looks like, unit count, and then what's the maximum up to amount. That has been questioned. We're working towards a September date of, just having more conversation with the CRA board that will be coming out soon about how we look at the different areas and see what works for that area, whether some areas can support construction costs, whether some will support the gap analysis, and then how we determine how we can fund. So currently, as it stands, we do have the money. It will come out of the unit creation and conversion line item that the board did motion to move the majority of the 30% allocation into that unit creation and conversion. Because number one, there's no rehab going on in channel. So that's one of our initiatives. Number two, there's limited opportunity for home ownership. However, that's still a directive of the board to have home ownership in channel. They do not want to eliminate that. And number three, it's hard to buy land. So, those were some line items that we kind of just put in there to drop the buckets of that 30%. And from there, we just decided, okay, let's maneuver. I will be fully transparent. This is the first application that has that market versus affordability gap analysis, and that's the funding that they're looking for versus all of the construction costs that all of the other developers in the different areas propose. So the opportunity that this body has right now is looking at the budget, determining if recommendation is, okay, let's look at this analysis because our area is a little distinct. And we're now, looking at how we can keep these units affordable for the 50-year term. As we know, there's standards by Live Local that just require 30 years. However, the city of Tampa did go a step further and say, hey, I want to add 20 more years because as you can see, this is a crisis and this is a workforce crisis. So with that being said, I wanted to just tee that up that yes, this matrix was approved January 6th. The conversation there has always been to start off the construction costs. However, it was never negated to not, let's have a conversation about the analysis, the gap that it does take to preserve these units affordable for that time in this area. So again, that's something that what I wanted to do is have them come in, present, speak with you guys, have that conversation, and from the body, make a recommendation on, hey, you know, we're seeing this application, and move it forward. I will say, we had a couple of inquiries for Channel so far. These are the only individuals that did submit a completed application to actually do affordable housing in Channel. So that I haven't received I might have had inquiries. That means, hey, let's see how this process works. I sent the same information, the matrix, the current income limits, the rank maxes that they have to go back by because this is mandatory. But no completed application in my office saying, hey, I'm submitting for Channel affordable housing. So that's why this is the only application I can bring forward to see where we lie at the moment.
So again, when is this funded, the 13.5?
It could be, right now we split it up in 3 years. So it will be fiscal 20, we could fund it from fiscal 25, 26, and 27. Okay, so we divide it into the 13.5 if that's the recommendation. Again, like I mentioned, this matrix is an up to amount. And you have to, when you look at it, you look at it from a perspective of the studio 1-bedroom cost and what they're proposing as their unit mix. And if it's under that guideline, then it's an easy to us say yes, because this is what I collected from the development community from everywhere in Tampa Bay. I'm not just talking about the east side, west side. I've had examples from what it takes to build a standard unit in Channel, what it takes to build a standard unit in downtown. And this is the first step of giving at least a perimeter of how we could develop. So that's where that comes from.
So, we would be putting all our eggs in one basket on one developer here. $13.5 million, and we still have, we have a port left, a property, what they want to do with it. We have harbor, we have other parcels in Channel side. So I think I would never vote to put $13.5 million up, put 100% of what's allocated for the now, what we've accumulated, and for the next 3 years with one developer. When in essence, he's really obligated to give us 10% based on the zoning that was done in 22. All I'm doing is getting extension from 30 years to 50 years. Hell, you don't even know the building's going to exist 30 years from now with a life cycle of buildings. So I don't think that's very smart. The other issue is front loaded. I mean, what you're doing is you're underwriting, you're giving the developer a right to be able to build something by front loading $13.5 million in 3 years. I mean, you're purchasing the almost purchasing the land for it. Yeah, and I could never vote for this today. I mean, we should have had this printout where we can review it and look at it and think about it. This is too much money to give a recommendation on today.
That was not the intention. The intention was to digest whether the gap analysis that they presented and to make sure that that's one of the avenues that we can provide affordable housing is something that you guys will entertain, okay? I didn't come for the full $13 million. I'm not even, that's not what I came for. What I came for is to have them present with the CAC. We have the funding, but have them present on the example of that market analysis, market rent versus the affordable rent, and what it takes to actually fund and construct units from that perspective, okay? As I mentioned, out of the inquiries, they're the only one that submitted an application with this concept and no other concept as far as just, let's look at construction costs for units, let's look at this. So this is why I'm bringing it to the body, because this is a different type of area.
Is it required right now to give us 40 units of affordable housing for 30 years?
Correct,
At no cost to the CRA?
correct,
Zero?
correct.
Okay, that's just a,
Per the local.
okay, that's a big nut to get 20 more years and to get 30 more
It's
years.
60 more units.
Wait, it's 74?
It's 100. 10%. It's 100.
Okay,
That-
I have
that's
74 at
state.
the beginning.
They actually revised it and said they're 100
At the end of the
units.
presentation, had 100.
Yeah, and we did the math, right? We reduced we're not asking for any incentive. So if the incentive is $75,000 for a unit at 140% of AMI, for the units that were already pledged for the rezone, we're only asking for 40% of that. So we
For the
deduct.
new 20 years.
Yeah, for the new 20 years. We deducted any value associated with the pledge for the first 30 years for the 40 units from the.
But you put 135,000 versus, when you look at some of these subsidies, they're higher.
Yeah.
So you got it both ways by doing that.
No, there's no double counting of the numbers. I mean, we can go through the math.
So we
slowly.
could, I think if we, just let's go through that one portion again. If you can with the 20 extra years added to the calculation, that will help with knowing, where we're at. I'm sorry.
Or you can put this in.
Now, these conversations will happen in September about the different routes that we could look at meeting the gap funding versus construction costs. Because that's the main thing that we're getting, developers and contractors are reaching out over those two. But,
Ed, were you going to talk about the other presentation we received? Is that what you were going to hit on? No. Okay, that's what I was going to cover. So, just so I'm sorry to interrupt you. Okay, in case you're not aware, 2 years ago, we had a presentation here by another developer for the 900 channel site project, which they actually own, and it was for affordable housing. My understanding, you were working with the property next to that unit to come with it. We were under the impression here, we're waiting for them to come back. So in our understanding, that is not a dead project.
Okay.
I can speak to that. That's 940 Channelside Drive.
It's what is it?
940 Channelside Drive, the Bamboozle parking lot.
Yes.
Yeah, so I resent that. So it's not dead, but it doesn't have a pending application. So that doesn't answer you completely, but yeah, it's. I'm not aware, but it's approved.
But I'm not gonna, one thing I'm not gonna do is withhold applications. So even with me reviewing it and I can say, hey, I think I can't pull that, what I think is different than what the body thinks, the representation of the community. So at that point, if we have the budget, which we will with the rollover and the projected 2026 numbers, we'll have it. I just want to present this, whatever comes our way. It's a little different with Channel. In other areas, I do provide a recommendation based on the budget and if it's going to be a monumental project, but that's different in different areas. Here, we're just trying to see what is going to work with Channel. Is it going to be this concept? Is it going to be construction costs, or is it analyzation of both? So that's where I wanted to go ahead and present everything that comes in the pipeline for the area.
Okay. The other area of concern is, and I understand you're pushing for affordable housing, which is a great and important thing. But you also got to understand one of our key areas of concern here is that we don't have the green space that the city has committed to us. We are supposed to be at 11%, we're at 2%. And when you see a structure like this going up, no additional green space being provided, it It's obviously, we're running out of space. What can be done to help accommodate that?
On that, I can't speak for the project, but of course, with funding agreements, we can always add those requirements.
So the role here is to advise the board, the CRA board, and the CRA board has adopted guidance, no more than guidance, it's a mandate that 30% of your dollars go to affordable housing. So the 70% that's not restricted for that use, where you should be looking for green space funding. There's no opportunity cost for green space for approving this or any other affordable housing project that comes before you. It's as apples and oranges. I mean, if the board had said you can do whatever you want with the money, you'd have a lot more flexibility, but they've chosen to tie your hands as to this 30%. That wasn't our decision.
Can you speak a little bit more to what the potential green space would be along the channel side? And you mentioned in the rendering there was some that could be.
Yeah, it's short term.
Retail?
It will eventually be retail, yes.
And that's long term.
I'm familiar somewhat with the government affordable housing. I don't know if there's truly any more affordable housing today, especially low workforce. But I don't know. I don't want to sound aggressive in my conversation. In those government deals, they're front loaded with huge development fees, like up to 14%. And is that how you're modeling your deal?
No, our development fees, I mean, developers charge development fees. But
Oh, yeah, but I mean,
project costs are
that's
development fees.
government funded.
Not 14%.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And sorry, I didn't want that.
It's a 4% development fee.
Okay, I didn't want that to come out wrong.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
No, there's no markup of anything.
Okay, great.
And just to be clear on the point earlier, for the 40 units that were already committed for the upzoning of this site, the incentive ask is only for the increment from 30 years to 50 years. The other 60 units were not associated with that commitment. And so for those, and we're using the numbers that were provided, 275,000 a unit, I believe, for the 80% of AMI.
AMI is, it's 250.
250. Yeah, and I believe those are split equally at 120% and 80%. So 20 of those are at 80% of AMI. 20 of those are at 120% of AMI. And so for the 20 that are at 80% of AMI, the ask is only 100,000 a unit instead of 250,000 a unit. And what is the incentive amount for 120% of AMI?
125.
125. So there, the ask is only $50,000 for each of those units.
That needs to be all explained, because just seeing that, asking for 13.5 million, we need to break down what he just said.
Okay.
And again, I see the 30 to 50 as a money grab to a developer when we were obligated, he's really obligated to give us 10%, 40 units at no cost at this point.
One more question. There's no requirement for you to hold throughout the cover. Okay.
And more importantly, the time value of money. By giving $13.5 million within 3 years, the value of that, the present value is, I mean, if I did it on my computer, it's astronomical.
So what is our ask today? Is it that it's
a conversation?
To proceed forward, or to vote, proceed forward, or is there any vote at all?
It's to have this official conversation. I brought an official application to the board, to this body, and it's now whether you're going to want further information to make a decision, whether you look at the provided info and then you provide a recommendation on what you can fund based off of the budget. And then of course we'll have the conversation with the applicant, whether they want to move in that direction or not. But it is to provide, just a little further, if you need further explanation, which is by the looks of it, or needs by the board needed. And then they can, if they wish, provide that detailed information if, they want the funding. And then you guys from there decide, hey, based off of our budget, what we want to produce, this is what we can recommend for you.
What's our time for response?
Hopefully, you know that we're always on the top of the box on CRA, you
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
curious
it's
for them as
coming.
well. I mean,
So they were I was hoping, of course, you know, at least by October 1st
Oh,
meeting,
okay.
I could at least, get something solidified with the body, and then we could go then, the next step with the CRA board.
I
you know?
think just to have a message sent back and y'all can, you know, voice your opinion, but like I said, I would be definitely not in favor of putting all eggs in one basket of 13.5 million, front loaded in 3 years. Y'all, you know, kind of say y'all's comments of how y'all feel about that. This way they know up front, don't come back with 13.5 million.
I'd like to have more information on this other methodology you're mentioning, structural. It's still new to me, so I apologize.
The construction costs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pretty much the construction cost, right here, the matrix, which means that we just made based off of what it takes to make a studio, a 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units, from costs provided from different bills, we then went through the average of what does it cost for those units. Then, in addition to that, we do partner with Housing and Community Development Division, which they're mandated with the funding they receive to submit a local housing action plan to the state of Florida, okay? And then that local action plan to the state of Florida, they restricted and maxed it out at no more than $350 per unit. So no matter what, we cannot go more than $350 per unit in any of the deals as it stands, because we do work closely with those requirements, so we can make sure that, you know, everything is even. You know, so
the question I have then is, you said there's the only application
yes,
so far.
so far.
Do you know the likelihood of we'll have other firm applications to review in the time frame? Because, you know, there is a housing crisis.
Yes.
And I understand about all the eggs in one place.
Yes.
So I would not want us to see that we're wasting cycles before anything happening. I think because it's part of another community, it's a part of a larger community, likelihood is that it will be done. I'm not saying that for answering that, I just want more information.
Okay.
So is the 413.5 million is having 100 units? What's that? Is that likely the number you would get for 13.5 million regardless of like the number of units?
No, so I would say that that's what's going to be discussed publicly, because of course, not to say nothing about the applicants, but when you see a matrix, you're going to go for all of it. Meaning that, okay, if I can get asked for the max of 350 per the matrix, that's fine. Even after it was explained that this is up to amount, this isn't a perimeter, just to give us a starting point. Again, the CRA has never had its own housing division. Mandated by the CRA board, they wanted a focal point to see how we could create affordable housing in conjunction in partnership with HCD, which is Housing Community Development. So no, you know, there hasn't been as big as an ask. You know, a lot of the projects, you know, it was never thought of trying to embark on this attainable housing / workforce mission and channel, but means that everyone voiced in the community through the housing needs assessment that was conducted in partnership with Bloomberg. It did have, you know, that people wanted to work, live, and play in where they work, and a lot of the workforce housing, a lot of workforce is looking for that. So in that case, you know, we're just now starting to digest what that looks like here. So again, completed application to you guys for the full amount based off of the, you know, the matrix. You know, at this point in time, you know, I would just ask, digest the budget. You could always call me. I'm always available to say, hey, what you think about this counter, what are you thinking? And then we can propose like, hey, yes, for channel, we use this gap analysis for the rental part of it, and this is what we're looking at. Or, hey, based off of this, I recommend that we just fund 7.5 or whatever. I'm not saying hold on to whatever, but I'm saying that's what I'm looking.
I would start out by taking out the 40 units. It clouds everything up. You know, it's take out the 40 units were guaranteed at this point. that 20, 30 year to 50 year, that's getting a little too creative. And we're fronting this money up. God forbid there's a fire, hurricane, whatever. We wrote that check, okay? And that makes no sense. So what we're guaranteed right now, the 40 units, and I would work on just the new units, the new units. That would be a recommendation, and not to say I would support that, but at least that would even, the way this is presented today, this is a money grab, okay? I had to ask you, Nick, the question is, in the front property that we keep on going back to, that's going to be green area, temporary. Will that ever be a high rise?
It'll be.
Because you said retail.
It'll be part of the podium. The high rise is going to, the tower on top of that podium is going to sit to the south of 1242, so the two buildings aren't staring at each other.
No, my question is this. You said that the front's going to be retail on Channelside Drive?
It's going to be retail on the exterior of the parking podium.
Okay, but how many floors, how many floors are they going to be? Because we lived at retail thinking one-story retail. How many floors is that going to be? In front, on the channel side, the temporary green area that you're saying, how many floors is that going to be?
That's going to be the pavilion.
Phase two, when you do the second phase.
What is it going to be? Number one, and how many, what's it going to be? I mean, at this point, you'll have to know what it is.
I mean, yeah, it's a challenging development environment right now, so things change over time.
I understand what you said. You said the.
And just, I do want to say, like, this is not a money grab. We were given a matrix, and we weren't. I'm not being critical, but like, we weren't given guidance other than this is right now what it's been approved to provide this amount of support for this type of unit at this price range, right? And if somebody had said to us, the maximum you can ask for is $7 million. Okay, we weren't given an upper threshold, right?
No one's done.
So we're not like, it's not a money grab. We were told that there was a desire to support attainable housing, and we responded to that. And again, totally fair, happy to provide all the backup and all of the details so you have some time to digest it, and we will do that. And happy to have.
So again, what is this one area going to be?
So
It's a temporary park area. What is that going to be?
Let me check on screen. So essentially, a structure equal in height to that parking garage will be put there. So for the land area of 1242 Channelside Drive, there won't be a tower put on that, but a new parking structure of that dimension will essentially be placed right there. And you know, that while that green space is temporary, I also said that that's not really an ideal place for a green area because you want to bring the urbanism and density up to the road. But there will not be.
Putting more units. You're not putting.
No, we're not putting more units
That
on
will
that.
go.
No.
That will go on.
We're
the land.
The 1236 site is small.
I think.
So stemming north allows us to build a more efficient podium and to build a larger building on that.
Not to put words in your mouth, Andy, but I think where you were going, is that going to be the equivalent, like phase two of what you're doing here, going out next door?
So this is the only habitable structure. This is the only enclosed building that will be on the 1242 Channelside Drive.
But we will put retail on the Channelside Drive.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Channelside Drive to have more connectivity to make it.
This is the only tall building that's on 1242 parcel.
I'm sorry, I believe earlier, but I was going to make a motion. I would motion that we pursue this, we look at it, and come back with to make a decision next board meeting in September, because they have an October timeframe. And we evaluate it during that period.
Yeah, I don't think they have a hard October.
Yeah,
We don't have to
just to give
the
up.
point is, we don't have to go with their timetable.
No, we don't. Haven't been in the development business, and you two, you like to be.
No, but I want to do this.
Oh, no, you don't want to do it right, but, you know, given what we've been told here today, I would make a motion, we evaluate this, we come back to September's board meeting, and this is what we will do. Yeah, we decided that it is worth this amount of money from our funds.
Yeah, bring it all in print this time. We have everything in advance, or just email it to us. There's a lot of information to consume.
Does my motion make sense?
Yes, just come back with some of our comments that we made and with a better proposal.
Yeah.
Second. He has to ask for a second.
Oh, yes.
Can I ask a question, just the first one?
Yeah, sure.
Is there any part of the project portion of the funding that's set aside for public art?
Not formally, but the intention is for the exterior of the parking garage to be, at least a portion of it to be public art murals, which we'll work with artists on that. And a bunch of cities, so yes.
So there was a second?
Okay, any other discussion? No. Okay, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry, I believe.
No, thank you for being your most attentive board member we've ever had.
I enjoyed being on the panel with you too, by the way. That was a good panel.
Yes, it was.
And I know public comments closed, but someone from the public wants to say something.
I understand.
The opportunity was there. The opportunity was there. Had the opportunity to present.
CRA Communications, is that person here?
Yes, Jack.
Do you have
It's all, it's in the
Okay,
packet.
I got the packet, perfect. Good evening, everybody. For those of you who may not be aware, my name is Jack Smith. I am the communications manager at HPT Associates. We are working with the CRA through the end of this year to help with the communications need. I understand that this has kind of been something that has been stirring around in the Channel District for some time, and obviously changes have been made. So just a little bit about us. We're located a few floors up right here in the Tampa Bay building. Our firm has been working in the Tampa Bay area since the late 80s. We work with a lot of different government and non-government organizations in the area. That's just a little bit of a list of those that we work with in some way, shape, and form. We have been working with the CRA in some capacity since 2016. That was done with the Worth City CRA from that time, and obviously that involved a lot of different things prior to the legislative changes that came. We'll kind of discuss a little bit later about where we're going now. But that included various things from general PR and communications work, managing the social media channels, crisis communication, research, video series, short form videos, and district campaigns. So if anybody remembers More and Evil or the Heart of Tampa campaign, we helped put those together for Worth City at the time. Again, we've been doing some work throughout this year with Tampa CRA as a whole. So that included the creation of the 2024 annual report, the social media channels that you may or may not be aware of, and in addition, also the quarterly newsletters. This was the first one that we put together with another one. The summer edition is coming out in a couple of weeks. We are attempting we're attempting to try to get that out around the time of August CRA board meeting. So be on the lookout for that. Additionally, beyond that, we'll be doing some other short form video content, community e-newsletters that we're trying to get work together right now, and some other work on a permanent basis with the CRA. In terms of sharing information on social, which is kind of the thing that we do a little bit more on a day-to-day basis, this list gives a pretty comprehensive of what we're allowed to do under the statute. So again, that little box up there is from the statute about what we are allowed to do. Again, it's kind of vague, but it's also very restrictive in the sense that, again, you're only allowed to disseminate information. So the thing I usually do is that, again, you may be familiar with the done in the past with Worth City. Prior to that, talking about events that happen in the community and other, I guess, campaigns or projects. We can no longer do that, right? So it has to be related directly with what the CRA work is being done. So one example here in the Channel District is, again, if there's a community event going on, we couldn't promote that, but we can promote the Channel District improvement projects that are going on. So that will be going on Whiting Street, I believe, in August. Yeah. So, you know, we can post updates about that, whether that's completion of the project, in progress, stuff like that. That is what really we're allowed to do. You know, again, we try to do our best in terms of spreading a love around, but we also recognize that, you know, work is being done here. In terms of if there is information you want us to share that's related to CRA work, this slide here kind of details what we ask you to do. We ask you to send that information to Courtney first, and she'll pass that along to us if it's approved basically within those parameters. And then we'll get it up on social media. It may also be something we feature in the newsletter for specific. If you haven't gotten a chance to look at it, we featured every different redevelopment area at least once within our redevelopment spotlight. We also have opportunities for the front page story. The last time around, it was about the commercial branch. The summer edition is going to be more focused on housing. The winter edition, or I guess fall, is going to be still to be determined for the summer for that. And then basically the last slide just details out what the Tampa CRA socials are. And if you want to sign up for news releases, you can scan that QR code. There's a sign up link on the CRA page at tampa.gov to sign up for that. We do encourage that. We're trying to work out that system so that we can send out a little bit more consistent community newsletter that there's something happening. The CRA is hosting a meeting. If we want to, if there's a particular project that we need to get some information out about, we want to encourage community members to sign up so we can get that directly to people who are interested in that information, whether that's individuals, businesses, and the like. We're working, trying to build that system. We had a robust system in Ybor that we've still been working with. We're just trying to expand. There's just been some work with DEO's PIO to kind of just get the list that already exists and creating a better way just so that people can select better into the system. I know that was kind of brief and quick. Personally, in these kind of things, I like to take questions, have this as more of a dialogue opportunity. I recognize, especially here, that communications has kind of always been something that has been of interest to the CAC and to the community, especially with it being so residential heavy relative to other parts of the downtown core. So I'm here to answer any questions, comments, or concerns.
Is your social media limited to 2 minute product apps here and to LinkedIn?
As of right now, yes.
So there's no YouTube, there's no
So there is a YouTube channel for the CRA page. However, we don't manage it, and right now that's only been housing. Really, these meetings, CAC meetings at the moment, CRA board meetings are housed on the City of Tampa's meeting page. All of that is public record. Again, as we kind of do more work in the video realm, or that's done in future years, it's going to be more of a repository. But and speaking personally, I don't know who wants to watch a CAC meeting after. I recognize you may all want to, but as a community-wise, we're trying to push out some of the better things. That we have a following around 20,000 between those 3 channels. Again, we converted the old Ybor City CRA pages into Tampa CRA. The following has stayed relatively consistent. We didn't see a dramatic drop-off of people who were only interested in Ybor and no longer want to hear this information.
My questions are related to people, the age demographics of people that are on social media versus not.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't know the answer about age demographics and channel districts specifically, but I know from my experience with relatives and things like that, not everyone is on social media.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, is this the only physical type of communication? Or can we just do something like this and that type of?
So as of right now, yes. Again, I do want to stress, right, like we're trying, this is a temporary measure through the end of the year. At some point, URP is going to go out for a communications firm. There are certain things that it's a lot of trial and error on this. One of the things that was kind of talked about in the last presentation, there isn't a lot of green space to maybe promote some of this stuff at, or how to maybe get it with some of the residential places and try to hub, whether it's QR codes for people to get into. It's tough, especially in the environment that it is. Multifamily housing is not conducive to really going door to door per se. And you are correct. Yeah, and that's going to require collaboration with those complexes, and again, that's something that we can work on, but it's also,
What about the partnership sides that are now?
So,
Channel side, partner with them, maybe get some space on those?
and that may be an option, but again, I'm familiar with the partnership. No. So one of the things though that could also be the issue there is that if we had to pay for that space, that would again have to come out of the CRA fund, and is that the best use of those dollars? or statutorily within the realm of it. I think that's one of the things is that since that change that really kind of ramped up after 2022 and part of it being board directed, and trying to navigate those waters.
Last week, did it change?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know the marketing manager, I'm sure there will be.
Yeah, where maybe just swap out, say, show some of yours and promote partnership in some way with your outreach, social media, things like that, kind of tie it together.
It could be, but if that's not disseminating information about flowing light clearance, then it.
Yeah, and we can discuss that, because I thought, just having a conversation, I thought we had, are you talking about the icons? Yeah, those, you have some latitude as far as the city's concerned, posting on those. So we can discuss that more, Jack. About like, I don't know what the agreement is, because I know we for the housing has posted stuff on those before without cost.
And yeah, if there's some agreement like that exists that we can work our way into, that's great, but yeah.
I mean, there will commissioners to promote the downtown areas, so yeah, be able to collaborate. Also, if I, again, just learning about some of the limitations. So on social media, the Tampa Bay Developer Podcast, one of the recent episodes, they were talking about getting involved with the CRA to do that. Is there an opportunity when, other platforms start to tell the work we're doing to share that out to the community?
Yeah, that's just well within that purview, right? That's disseminating the information. It's not, one of the things that it is that we can't tell people to do these things, we can reshare something. So as that work gets disseminated more, that is well within that thing of us being able to reshare. It's just that, the line between resharing versus creating original content is where we're trying to, toe the line.
So there are good references to.
Yeah.
Say references.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? No? Okay. Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Okay, we are through with presentations. So you're next.
So, as you're aware, we talked about stormwater concerns on Tennessee Drive, it's been brought up before in the past. And we were trying to figure out a way to help remedy through neighborhood infrastructure, our neighborhood infrastructure budget funding to help remedy the situation on Tennessee Drive. And we did get an approval from our administrator and stormwater to go ahead and move forward with stormwater assisting with that work, and CRA pulled funding in.
I'm okay with that, let's get it done. Ken needs to get it done, you can't have another, it's, I would love for it to go to general revenue, but you know what, let's just get it done. Because he'll be waiting 3 years for general revenue.
Okay, well, that was either my thought, so the motion I really need is,
Well, just to make sure everyone understands.
yes.
So, Brett, you understand what they're proposing? Okay.
What's the dollar amount?
I would like up to 1.3 million for neighborhood infrastructure.
Can I get a motion or not?
This year, 26 budget.
I'll second.
I'll make the motion to utilize up 1.3 million of the 2026 neighborhood infrastructure improvement to help fund stormwater improvements for the Channel Side and East McKay Street project.
You got a second?
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion? Let's get it done. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It's hurricane season.
All right. Fiscal year 26 budget, so in your packet, you'll see what the preliminary numbers were provided in that first column, and then what the certified number is. So you can see the overall difference of what was being projected and then what the final numbers were. So we worked that into the fiscal year 26 budget, what the exact numbers were, and that's what's on the pink column on the next sheet of what we landed. This is the fiscal year 26 budget you reviewed a few times and approved where the funding was going to be put for the revenues anticipated, the 13.4 million. So nothing's really changed. And in fact, the monies that we just approved, the 1.3, the increase that we realized usually goes into neighborhood infrastructure immediately. So the increase we did realize will now make it possible to do the stormwater project. So the same budget. I didn't change anything. Andy, land acquisition money untouched. So
Okay.
I didn't add to it, but I didn't take away.
Thank you.
We told you it was going to be higher, so
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
surprised that it's not greater than that.
Yeah, but at least we did have more.
Yes.
Now we can do the stormwater project without concern. And then, so thanks for your patience on Andy Auto. That was the purchase that we were trying to have real estate negotiate with the seller, and the seller did sign the contract today. So that they took your recommendation of up to 4.5 million. And so the terms, I don't know the terms, I just was informed that the seller did sign the contract today. And so now we're working to get that onto the CRA board agenda for September 11th. And then if it's approved, it moves forward to city council, the following city council meeting in September.
Do we know what, we're sitting at 2% right now, green space, with the acquisition of that, so it moves to 3?
More importantly, what it does is it gives us, we're not creating a pocket park, we're expanding to an additional park, and it gives us a window on Twigs. So now, everybody that goes down Twigs now sees some green area, and we get rid of a real eyesore. You know, I mean, there's nothing pretty, but hey, he's got the right to be there. He was there before everybody else, you know? Yeah. So this is, you know, I wish Abby was being in charge of real estate for the last 10 years, and we'd be up to that 100% because she did execute here. She executed, and that's what it's about. Where before, real estate has not executed, and that's why we're at 2%, not 11. So I wish she was around 10 years, but it can't go back. So anyway, tell her we're grateful. We're grateful to her.
Yes, and then we of course have our team that works on it all too.
Absolutely.
Melissa Martinez, et cetera.
Well, thank you for the execution.
Yeah.
Because we're really, you hear us talking green area.
So
Fantastic.
do that percentage analysis. Is that going to be 3%?
We're going in the right
0.5?
direction. That's okay, we're doing good. We got 220 acres, and it's probably, how much dirt is there? About 10,000 square feet, so it doesn't move the needle much, but it does move it, okay? But more importantly, it moves it to an existing park, and that's what's important. When you move something to an existing land abutting, 1 and 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 3.
Nice, everybody's happy.
Oh, extremely.
Great.
The only thing with is trying to understand what you're going to do with that property. I mean, is it going to be another playground, or are we truly going to have green space? So,
Yeah, I think we'll have to probably have to go through a visioning process, but it's yeah.
I need to do something on here. My name is Melissa Martinez. You guys do not know me. I'm the senior project supervisor. It's construction. Does anything that's $500,000 or more, that's my team that takes care of it. So for this one, once we get the property closed up, then we need to do some probably environmental remediation. From there, I have an urban planner that then we'll go out to the community and then get feedback on what type of park they would like to have added to that other piece of the existing park. And then from there, then we'll go ahead and procure a design team to be able to then follow those communications.
Love it. So you're going to get feedback.
Yeah, I have an urban planner that does that. We did that. Right now, we're doing remediation and 810 Channelside Drive. We're doing the testing to start doing remediation, and then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go out to the community. We already have a design firm that we're working, and we work with Parks Department, of course, because they're in the corner department.
So you're talking about 810 Channelside. What is going on?
Right now, they're doing testing.
But testing, we own that property for a year and a half now?
Yeah, but I didn't have to procure any kind of testing company to do. We had to do, when the property was sold, we only did a level 1 environmental report and a partial level 2. So I had to hire a company to do a complete level 2 to be able to get a recommendation. Once I get the recommendation, it has to go through our solid waste department that they manage anything that is brownfield with the county. So the county has then to approve what the process is for us to start doing the testing on the land. So that right now, what they're doing the testing. Once they do the testing, they come up with a report to say how we're going to remediate it. I'll get a company to come in and do the remediation and have the consultant that did the testing report it back to the county and to the state.
So do we have any analyticals at this point?
No, right now.
No,
They just started. I think they just started last month. I think we already got a new right?
Yeah.
They said that they were starting. They didn't want to scare you guys and something started like that.
Because there's two types. There's groundwater contamination and there's dirt.
They'll come back with a report and say what levels they are and what kind of remediation is needed to be able to get that going. Without that, I can't get a company coming in and then move dirt.
But we don't have analyticals yet.
Correct.
We need BOAs on the dirt. Has that been done?
I think they just started doing the testing on the ground. And that's as much as my knowledge is.
Okay.
Well, by the way.
Well, good, as long as it's going forward.
It is, yeah. We already have a design team. So then we should be starting the community outreach on having some kind of visioning boards that we call it visioning boards or visioning sessions to get an idea of what is it they want to have, what they would like to have. We're going to use a lot of the data that we got also from Washington Street Park because we did a lot of outreach, public outreach for that park renovation. So I think Parks is trying to use a little bit of what we were not able to implement on that part to try to put into this one. So there's very different concepts that we'll bring to you guys.
And we'll be in the middle of when the sessions happen, right? So
oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Yes.
Two good points about that. I mean, it's going to be wonderful. Is number one, as an access point off of 12th Street, a little alley, so all those residents don't have to get on channel side and use it. They can take a little shortcut. But number two, just make sure that we involve the aquarium because they want to be a partner with us in this. And they would be a wonderful partner being across the street.
Correct, yeah. I think we contacted them already as far as stakeholders list. So yeah, because at some point they were getting rid of some of the exhibits and they wanted to donate it, but by the time that we contacted to see if we could use them in this park, they were already gone.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
We have a lot of good news today.
Yeah. Well, I don't have an update on landscaping and irrigation, but hopefully we've seen some work on 11th and 12th. That's the last that Ken had informed us. I think he'd be doing 11th to 12th. And so we still have Ken's attention on helping us with the landscaping in the district. And then
Is there, what is the status of the Washington Street? I haven't heard anything news on that. Like, what's?
yes, so we just we just had this discussion.
Washington Street.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we just discussed this. So it's going to be, at this point, Parks and Rec would like to couple the RFP that is released for Curtis Dixon Park to have Washington Street Park also associated with that same RFP.
Say it again.
So remember that the design team that came in from Central Designs. So when the design firm was hired, they only brought to you guys conceptual designs. I need to have a firm that actually gives me perform construction drawings. So then we can get a permit to start construction. So we'll have, Parks Department is the owner department for this parks. So they have another park, which is Curtis Dixon, that they're going to do an upgrade to. And what they want to do is that for those designs, they want to do one RFP for both parks and they can get one design team doing both design for both parks to get construction drawings. They don't want to do separate ones. They just want to try to combine some of the parks and make it easier to have one firm doing the work or two or three parks at the same time instead of having three firms.
And then when you say the other project, where's that at?
A10?
No, I'm saying.
Curtis Dixon, downtown.
That's the Curtis, is
That's a
that,
Curtis Dixon Park downtown, it's got with the, so they're doing.
is that the one with all the controversial about that's leaking into the parking lot and all that?
No, that's Kylie Park.
Oh, Kylie, okay. I just want to make sure we're not.
Listen, you're testing me tonight, what's going on?
Okay, Curtis is the park, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, good.
Okay, it's been on,
Cameras?
yeah, I need to read my text of what Dan Collins, Captain Collins, who unfortunately for us, Dan Collins has been reassigned to West Tampa. So, our wonderful captain, we do not have any longer. He's in a different district, so we have been assigned a new captain who I've not yet met. But Captain College still allows me to bother him, so I texted him and I said, if he had any updates on the security cameras, and he said that the detective who was working on the project said electrical runs are scheduled to begin next week. He's going, and Captain College is going to go out tomorrow. Oh, no, I'm sorry, McGinnis. Detective McGinnis is going to go out tomorrow, so this is Thursday, tomorrow, to confirm all of the conduits to expedite the process. Electrical should take roughly all next week to pull the wire and make the breaker connections. The camera and radio installation should begin shortly thereafter.
So we know the locations then? Something we see.
Yeah, I still have never received the locations. I've asked multiple times, but this will give me a reason to now follow up on the candidates.
If you could, and also, is there, I'm assuming the cameras are similar to other cameras that we have in the city. And if there's like a reference point that we can at least go see what that camera looks like. I've had one resident in a asking me, well, if you can't find the locations, tell me where we currently have got a camera that we could go at least go see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the spreadsheets of the capital projects, of which Melissa's team oversees, those are provided as usual monthly in your board packet for review. Our capital projects and the commercial grants.
Do we have a date in August when the Letty Street work is going to start?
The what?
The Letty Street?
I think so, I'll be towards the end of August. I think this was something that went out for the community to know the project started. But the contract was approved by the CRA board last week.
Yeah, the 31st.
So until Kim said that, like, first to proceed, it's kind of hard for him to start to move equipment. I helped him to start moving equipment, but I think he mentioned it throughout the week.
Relative to that, there was questions and a good communication back to the city and residents concerning the electric with TICO that's there. Traditionally, any infrastructure project that we've done in the past in the Channel District as part of the infrastructure, the TICO lines have been buried. Okay? It's our understanding, and based on what I'm hearing from the city, that is not going to be the case with this project, which to me is, don't understand why you wouldn't do that, because you're now going to have to do it at a later date to end up coming back and doing it.
Is it this one? I believe that one, there's the area where the overhead, the power lines are, there is a empty site that should be.
There is a parking area. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay.
It's a parking area for the port cruise passengers.
Yeah.
It's there.
I believe that there's a developer that's going to be, they're submitting plans, and what the city usually does, and I mean, I'm speaking from experience of other projects, is that they include that on the ground, on the design for that property. So then the developer pays for it and not the city.
Okay, so it potentially could be a year from now that they'll have to go back
Yeah.
and rip it up again to end up burying the line. This is what
Correct.
Okay.
But so when we have the design, the areas when it's designed for this infrastructure project, if we're gonna have a developer coming in, because that happened in Meridian, and I forgot together in the street. The developer will, what Kimmons will do is that they're gonna pour just straight concrete sidewalk and not the design, the pattern that it says, and then when the developer comes in, the developer is responsible to them, because they're gonna break that concrete, they're the ones doing the design pattern on it.
Okay, all right,
So that kind of alleviates a little bit of the cost, because you still have to have sidewalk
understood.
on the.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. A lot of good news there. New business. Any new business? Okay.
I had a question about the North 12th Street. I saw this line item, it's highlighted, but it's the highlighted.
It was new when we were building out the budget. We had just received estimates for widening the 12.
Yeah.
And I had to move monies to help cover the new widening street estimate. And then later we'll fund in the following year the other ones. But those were like new when we were building out the fiscal year 26 budget. So I just wanted to call those out because I had to kind of start shifting now that I had learned what those estimates were.
The street I know is really, because all the construction traffic that goes down that street from gas works and everything, it floods horribly. Like the floods go out from the side to the center of the street after a big rainstorm. But then there's a lot more construction coming, especially with this project that we just started, right? So I think the timing of any work there is going to be critical.
It's going to be, that's the last phase of the infrastructure project of the Channel District. And I attend meetings with the Bel Construction Group for that reason, to coordinate for and what's going to happen is that they're going to end up with the same thing, the sidewalks, there's certain areas of the sidewalk, it's just going to be, Kim's going to put the plain sidewalk, and they're going to be responsible for coming and build to make the other design.
Is there anything with because right now the drainage there, and the flooding of it, after rainstorms like we just were having, is really horrible. And cars will race down and then the flood goes well past the sidewalk.
Yeah, so Pinonis are engineer, and we already have meetings about that. They had to redo some of the drawings because at the time that this project started, which is in 2018, there was no need for those developments were not even thought of, so now they're there. Now they're going to have to, there's a lot of changes that are going to be happening in the street just because of the development that now is sitting there.
Okay.
Courtney, are we getting a visit from the Director of Stormwater at any point? Have we discussed that?
Well, I think we've resolved it through.
Well, that's not the only flooding that's going on.
Okay.
In Sunnyside. I mean, my curiosity is, Cedric came and met us over at the towers, and I don't know what we're doing as far as still looking at the drainage in the area, as far as existing drains, if they're operating. But I had an experience where you guys came, put in a workforce, and they called us, and I had a guy call me, and he goes, yeah, this is so-and-so, just to let you know, we checked all the drains, and we're all fine. But it just so happened that day, I've got pictures of where drain by the old Parks and Rec building was it was plugged. It wasn't, and so I just don't always think we're talking apples to apples with these guys. And, the Expressway Authority came through and they're looking at that big retention pond on Meridian. But when a guy sits there and tells me, oh, we've looked at everything, and then we've got pictures, and luckily he burdened himself to talk to the maintenance guy, and he opened up the thing and showed him. I mean, it was plugged. It's like, oh yeah, it's high tide, so it's going to pull it out. Low tide, it's like, no, it's not pulling this out. This is clogged. So I don't know. I know they worked out something, but there's a miss somewhere, and it makes me concerned that the rest of the area has not been checked. I mean, how are we just now discovering that they never finished the pipe on Channelside Drive if they're checking these drains all the time? Somebody at some point's got to go, this doesn't go anywhere. So I would love to know maybe a visit from him so we can express those concerns and just figure out what their routine is, to figure out what the drainage in this area is, or how it's getting maintained. he's new, right?
Well,
Or you were?
so,
Stormwater manager? The director or whatever?
well, it's Brandon, but we're taking over as,
It's mobility.
That's mobility and the stormwater.
I mean, I know that Dick was over
Mobility,
there.
Yeah, stormwater should have their own.
Okay, so maybe mobility, not strong. We don't need initial infrastructure, we just need existing infrastructure.
So is there a request to have them come?
Another open business topic. Last week, the city police held a Zoom meeting on noise within the area, and basically noise enforcement, or noise reduction enforcement, I guess is what you'd be calling it. It was a good meeting. I thought they had fairly good attendance, but I don't sense they have a resolution in what to do. And obviously, there were several people from the Channel District that I recognized that were on the Zoom meeting. So it is a topic of importance in our community to try and figure out how to try and manage it, especially Channel Side, Meridian, and so forth, Kennedy, the major areas that we're having problems with. I don't know what we as a CAC can do to support them. I end up writing a note that if funding is one of the topics, at least I think we would be open for a discussion on our side. If we could get additional police personnel at certain times to help monitor. But I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with it, but it is an issue and concern with a lot of our residents. And I don't know if there's anything from our side that we could do to help support the cause to try and reduce that. So.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I was looking through my notes, you know, Cedric, who's pretty sharp in stormwater's Alex. He's been here like over 30 years. And you may want to call him. I got his cell phone. I'll send it to you.
Drop it.
Okay. He's very sharp.
Just to finish my whole dissertation here, the one comment that I found interesting in it is that the noise limitation is 100 feet. So if you can hear anything over 100 feet, then that's breaking the law.
But they can't enforce it. I mean, it's almost impossible. What they need to do is ticket those who have illegal buffers. And to as a start, and maybe some of these others will quit gearing up as they're coming through when they see these other guys getting in trouble. That and the speed, because they love to get loud and speed, and they love those. Man, I see these just beautiful cars, and they start braking. It's just pop, 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 pop. That's illegal. It's got to be.
One of the recommendations is to call the police. You know, when you see it. Well, by the time you finish that phone call,
All right. Any new announcements? CAC? Okay. How about anything you thought, Cedric, y'all forgot?
No.
We good?
Covered quite a bit of business this evening.
Yeah, this is a good group. Okay, well, thank you. Let's go home. Meeting adjourned.
Okay, thank you. We need to relocate tables.
Yeah.
Don't forget, yeah.
And don't forget to do that.
It's long, so.
Yes.